you're looking at nearly 56 tonne just in animals moving around. And that's the thing, like they're standing on 4 legs, so they're moving you around as well. Going through creeks, you can feel them shunning, but when you move the steering wheel like that, you can feel it like a big snake, and you can feel it. That's why when it's a little bit wet, we've got to try and stay right up and not let a trailer drop off the side because it'll slip down and then it could roll over pretty easy.
On a farm 350 kilometres east of Perth, livestock truckie Joey Greenwich is getting ready for a run through the West Australian Outback.
Look at that, bloody beautiful.
Joey's been driving trucks for 30 years, and like his dad, his granddad and his brother, he wouldn't have it any other way.
This truck driving in our blood, we put our heart and soul into this job. I don't agree with this, and it sounds funny, but an old bloke said once that truck driving's a dickhead's job, but a dickhead can't do it. But to me, it's not. My dad brought me up to say you're like a ship's captain if you're driving a truck, and that's your responsibility, and I think more along those lines.
Like any captain, Joey's responsible for the lives of his passengers. On this voyage, there'll be 750 of them. It's one of the most dangerous loads a truckie can carry. Constantly moving, high off the ground and with a mind of their own, sheep are unpredictable and unstable. Keeping the truck steady is essential. Rollovers are a constant threat.
If you hook into corners too hard or stuff like that, you know, like you'll have the risk of them going over it. And I've been very lucky, but I've seen it happen. Yeah, animals have to get destroyed and yeah, not good at all, you know.
With a third trailer hooked up, Joey's 37-metre road train is complete. It's 4 times the length of a London bus and can hold up to 800 sheep. On the ground, everything's good to go. But it's a different story above. The weather forecast is for rain. It's the last thing Joey needs.
The main thing is to get stuck, to get bogged somewhere.
If the skies open, his 43-tonne road train could sink like a stone into wet farmland.
That goes through the back of your mind if you're going in the bush in stormy country, you know, in stormy weather sort of thing.
And the news from his first pickup is not good.
Hey, Joey, you still up for a run?
Yeah, mate.
The rain's already coming down.
We might sort of have a little bit of trouble if it's a bit wet. You know, we've got to be able to get this thing straight to get it in, you know?
In the loading area, the news isn't good. The ground is soaked.
That's bloody soft there.
While he's only got a small number of sheep, Joey's worried his 43-tonne truck could get bogged.
Well, we'll only have a couple hundred sheep on, but it's still, yeah, just don't want to get stuck. Yeah, just it is soft there. And my bloody oath it is.
If he's to load up, he'll have to cross the wet ground.
Oh, we'll give it a go over there, and we haven't got a lot of sheep on, so we'll just give it a go.
Joey needs to reverse his 37-metre road train up to the shed door that's barely a metre wide. He must be centimetre perfect. And the soft ground's making manoeuvring a nightmare.
Thinking on how to get straight and how to get back, and you've got to have good steering to back this thing, and I can't get real good steering. You can't wriggle it all quick enough, or you're sort of buggered, you know? Shearing sheds. Nah. Have a look at that. You don't mind mucking around, or do you? I just don't like getting bogged, eh? No, I'll just try and wriggle it a bit. I'll just have to go forward and wriggle it a bit more. Bloody hell, Cove. Get it this time. We got it.
While he's made it to the shed, the challenge now will be getting back out. Added to his 43-tonne road train will be another 20 tonnes of sheep. It's an exhausting job
You've got to be pretty fit. If you're not fit, you'll get found out pretty quick.
and a risky one.
Sheep, to me, are more dangerous because you've got to be amongst them. I've been much more knocked around by sheep than cattle. Sheep are pretty cunning too, you know.
Now he faces the toughest part, driving his truck across a minefield of sodden ground.
Yeah, f***ing wet.
And his truck's 20 tonnes heavier than when it arrived.
It's a bit of an obstacle course around here.
Getting bogged at his first stop of the day would be bad enough.
We'll just go straight up there and near that tree. Yep.
But if the ground gives way unevenly, Joey's truck could roll. Life and limb are at risk.
Haven't got stuck for ages.
Joey's going to need all the help he can get.
All sweet? Yeah, all good, mate. Oh, it'll be all right with that tractor in front. We hope. Yeah. Just worried now. Very worried. Yep, cool. Yep, we're in the shit. Yeah, well, we took a punt and it didn't come off.
While he's putting a brave face on it, Joey's up to his neck in trouble. He prides himself on delivering, and every minute he's stuck is costing him time and money.
I don't know, you just never gain time in this world, you just lose it.
The problem is, the tractor in front isn't powerful enough to pull him free.
Yeah, it didn't quite sort of cut the mustard, you know? So we're here.
Escape looks impossible.
You can't dig yourself out of this. You sneak it.
Joey needs a miracle. This 12-wheel, heavy-duty monster tractor could just be the answer to his prayers.
Well, if that doesn't pull us out with stuff. Yep. Just take it steady.
But even this brute can't drag the road train free. It's time for Plan B.
Oh, we're just going to pull it back a bit first. Don't really want to pull the bull bar off this truck.
The back of the truck is lighter. The hope is the tractor can get some momentum and pull Joey out. The plan seems to be working, but there's no telling what damage is being done underneath the truck.
Yeah, you can drag something off underneath, you know. You can rip the bloody fuel cost line off for your fuel or any bloody thing, you know. Out there, I reckon, mate. Hang on, mate. Hang on, whoa. This.
While he's out of the bog, Joey's right back where he started.
That'd be the fucking worst spot ever there. Yeah, I won't get through there, I think.
There's mud in all directions.
I reckon we're just going to have to take a punt and go that way.
All Joey can do now is set his wheels straight, cross his fingers, and hope the tractor can plough its way through.
Yeah, get into it.
While he might be out of the mud, now Joey needs to find out if the truck has survived the escape.
I'll just make sure nothing's off underneath. Fucking mud and shit everywhere. We'll get it off.
The news is good, but Joey's lost something just as precious: time.
Oh, if we weren't running late before, we are now.
After a second pickup, Joey Greenwich is en route to Esperance, but he's barely halfway through his journey. And just as he's getting ready to move, there's another crisis. 2 sheep have slipped and fallen. It's the most common cause of injury and death on trucks like this.
Trying to look after you and your mate. They don't be cranky, eh? They're just climbing all over the other one.
It's urgent Joey gets them back on their feet now.
Get this old girl around.
Once the truck is moving, any fallen sheep could be trampled.
She's just made shit.
If Joey can't get them up, chances are they never will.
Why the hell are you doing that to your mate? Oh, for Christ's sake, sheep. Get up! It's just a stubborn old sheep. Oh, bloody hooray.
70 tonnes and 2,800 hooves are now firmly planted on the deck. Joey can get back underway. He urgently needs to make up time. But up ahead, a slow-moving car is blocking the way. Overtaking is always hazardous, made harder with a live load on board.
Oh, he's just sitting on a bit of an annoying speed.
Joey needs at least 1 kilometre of clear road before he can commit.
If it's safe up here, we'll try and get around.
It's a relief to be past. But suddenly, Joey spots something in the mirror. A sheep has slipped. It's not moving. It's barely moving. Joey needs to rescue her before she's trampled to death.
One old girl sort of laid down and then got a foot stuck out there. They're just big, fat and awkward, you know?
Fortunately, there's no injury and Joey can get moving. But it's more lost time. By the time he arrives in Esperance, it's pitch black. He's delivering to a farm he's only visited in daylight via a different entrance.
I was going to overshoot it.
To help Joey, the farmers come out to meet him.
There's a tractor parked about 600 metres upwards. Can you see that?
Yeah, no, I can't see a thing.
Some of the sheep have been on board the truck all day. Joey's keen to give them some rest.
Well, there's never usually any signage or anything until you get right onto them.
I can see your lights keep coming, about a K to go.
Oh, bloody beautiful.
At last, he's made it and can start unloading. It's a stressful time for both trucker and farmer.
Normally you probably see a little bit of swearing in there, which has been quite mild this time. It's a pretty good indication everything's going well. Because normally it gets a bit heated if it gets too tough. From a duty of care point of view, most stockies would probably bugger the truck, unload it tomorrow. So Joe's been good enough to pull in there and we're unloading him.
After a tough day, it's almost over for Joey. Just a few sheep are left to come off. But suddenly...
Don't go under there. Get him! Get him!
a sheep has got itself into serious trouble.
She's so fat, she flipped the deck up. Now she's gone and got a foot stuck.
It's trapped between a movable floor and the wall of the trailer. If Joey puts any weight on the floor, he risks crushing the sheep even more.
I nearly got it, Troy. Yep, got a foot out, but now our other bloody feet are stuck there.
The only way he can reach it is from below. Joey has to crawl on his hands and knees in sheep excrement and try to lift the 70-kilo animal back onto her feet.
Yeah, got her.
Yeah, right. She's all clear.
Yeah, I've got to get out of here now.
She's the last to disembark, but every one of Joey's 750 passengers has made it safely off his truck.
Oh, that was bloody good, eh?
Well, the ewes have travelled magnificently, as you can see. They just look great. They credit the guys with these big rigs shifting them around for us.
For the ship's captain, it's been a gruelling day. But after 650 kilometres and near disaster, he's weathered the storm and made it to port.
Everyone was happy and no casualties, and you're always happy when that happens. You sort of think, well, that's your job done, and they're there.
With a constantly moving top-heavy load and narrow bush tracks, carting cattle is one of the most dangerous types of trucking.
You can roll them over really easy.
Schmidt's livestock haulage have been moving beasts through the bush for 36 years. But now boss Liz Schmidt and her team are facing an epic operation.
The logistics of it is really huge. Lots of trucks, lots of people, lots of cows.
Massive traffic.
Schmidts need to move 20,000 cattle onto 2 ships in only 3 days.
It's not cornflakes. You don't just load them and go. You have to take care of them.
To fill 2 ships, it'll take 125 trips, more than 20,000 kilometres, half the distance around the planet.
Until the last beast goes on, we can't rest.
Keeping the cattle and the trucks moving is 31-year-old Brenton Holmes's job. As the operations manager and a driver for Schmidt's, he's got his hands full.
As far as cattlemen go, they don't get much bigger than 20,000 head at a time. You started loading out there, or? No, not yet.
The day's just started and Brenton's already playing catch-up. His trucks are bumper to bumper at the yard when they should be heading to port.
We're meant to start at 10:30 now.
At the port, the exporters are waiting.
They are live animals and we need all trucks to be on the go.
The boat's right to start loading and we're half an hour behind the plan.
If the ships are held up, they'll have to pay a fee to the port, costing thousands of dollars. But there's more than just money at stake.
It is a 36-year business. We've been doing this for a long time and we have a huge reputation to uphold.
With a truckload of expectation and $18 million worth of cattle waiting,
A lot of money. A lot of money.
Brenton can't lose any more time.
There's just that slight bit of anxiety about it all. That's part and parcel of the job. If you're too relaxed about it, things will be missed. We've got 18 trucks lined up. See, we've got nearly 20,000 head of cattle to go on 2 live export ships. So, yeah, we don't need anything to go wrong.
You can see going to shit. Yeah.
In the truck ahead of Brenton, Ross Sanderson, originally from Lancashire. Ross is getting to port as fast as he can. But when carting cattle, push too hard and things can go horribly wrong.
Drive real gentle, so you're not shaking them around. You definitely can't do any emergency stops because you'll put a mast overhead and that's how you kill them, mate.
Close to the port, Ross pulls over to check his load.
Check them every so often just to make sure you haven't got one down.
A small steer has fallen over. It's in serious danger of being trampled.
We just need to stand them up so they don't get squashed. Good one.
The other cows aren't helping. It's safe on all fours. Ross needs to keep moving to the waiting ship.
Well, we're nearly on the wharf now. We're just outside the wharf gate.
But there's a delay. 3 trucks are lined up in front of Ross.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a hold up. Just play the waiting game.
After 30 minutes, nothing's moved. By the time Brenton gets there, the traffic jam has grown.
6 trucks in front of me lined up, waiting to get in and unload. It makes me wonder if something's gone wrong. What's the drama? What's the hold-up?
Frustratingly, no one can tell him what's happening, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Oh, I don't know what's going on. The cattle are locked up there for some reason.
Finally, after a 2-hour delay, Brenton's operation is moving again.
They must have had to do a deck change over on the ship, so... Go on!
He needs to get 20,000 head of cattle on board in less than 72 hours.
Until the last beast goes on, we can't rest. We've got to keep our wits.
Not helping the situation, he's got 2 reluctant passengers.
Oh, I've got one that's down there, mate, yeah. Go on! Hey, hey, hey! Ho!
And no amount of coercing
Go on! Hey!
is getting them off.
Yeah, couple just a little bit crooked. And I'm going to get a break to go on the next boat.
It'll cost precious time. But Brenton needs to take these 2 back to the yards.
A bit exhausted by the time they got to the boat, so we'll take them back out here and give them a chance to recover. They'll go on another boat in a couple of weeks' time.
Meanwhile, the other trucks are still going flat out.
So this is trip number 3 for the day. There's another one to do yet.
By the time Brenton gets back to the yards, the fresh air has worked wonders.
Up and walking around, all right? The run back out here sort of recovered a bit.
Next morning, and after some much-needed rest, the truckers are back into it. 6,000 cattle have been moved. 14,000 still remain. For the drivers, it feels like a never-ending job.
Once we start, we've got to keep going. You can't dawdle around. It's a big deal for everything to run smooth, to get them cattle to the port as quick as you can.
Frustrating many drivers are constant delays and changing plans. And now Brenton is having to make another change.
A couple of the guys will have to do 3 runs to go to Kelly.
For 2 of his drivers, it's 2 hours more work. After yesterday's grueling day, it's the final straw.
Why don't you tell everyone else what you're doing?
Look where we are now, we've got held up.
Oh, yeah.
So quick point the blame. There's always someone else fault, some stuff.
There, I'll drag you into that cab and wipe my ass with you.
The strain of this massive job is starting to take its toll. The biggest livestock carrier in the world has docked.
It's a big canoe, all right? Very, very big ship.
She leaves port in 13 hours. But she still needs another 8,000 head. That's 40 more road trains, needing a lot of organising.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't understand how many cattle are going on the ships.
But all day there's been no sign of head organiser Brenton.
Why don't you tell everyone else what you're doing? I'll drag you into that cab and wipe my ass with you.
The radio argument wasn't missed by boss Liz, and there's been fallout.
Just a little bit of drama here this afternoon. I've sent Brenton home. It's been a long day for him. Also, I've taken charge.
The other driver in the argument has been fired.
It's about teamwork for us. You have to be a part of the team or you don't stay.
Losing 2 key players at this stage is a serious blow.
Certainly stuff we don't need. We've got 2 of the drivers who actually stepped up and said that they'll help us out by doing a couple of extra ones.
One of those drivers is Ross. But on the road, things aren't going well.
We should have probably passed about 5 triples by now, and I think we might have passed 1, so I'm thinking there could be a bit of a drama going on there, but we'll find out, I suppose. Yeah, we got a hold up. There's a big line up there now. Looks like we're going to have a big wait.
Liz stepped into Brenton's shoes only hours ago, and she's playing catch-up.
I've got 8 trucks lined up here at the moment, just waiting for the vet to come in from Charters Towers. Needs to be a vet here before the cattle go on to the trucks.
Every exported cow needs to be inspected by a vet. Right now, he's a no-show.
It's just a hold-up that we don't need.
Finally, after a 3-hour delay.
Away you go.
With the cattle checked, it's a race to the finish.
We got 3 gone. This is the 4th one. Yeah, right on, mate. I'll go and get my truck. We're finally going to get loaded up.
25 road trains need to go in 6 hours. With every load, Liz can breathe a little easier. After a long night, only a few cattle remain.
Yeah, 3:30 in the morning, but that's all good.
Liz and her army of truckers have pulled it off.
Between the truck driving crew, the crews in the yards, it's an amazing feat for all of us.
Lila, hop up here. Oh, idiot. Get out of that ute.
Meet
Lila,
Nigel Vag.
Come here, Lolly. Come here, Lolly. Come here, Lolly. Lila, come here.
And his dog, Lila.
Come here, Lolly.
For this Outback trucker, dealing with uncontrollable animals is an occupational hazard.
Here, hop up in the trailer. Good dog.
Nigel carts goats for a living. Agile, mobile, and very often hostile.
Hey.
Trucking goats can be a dangerous job.
I just jumped over into the yard with a great big billy goat, ran into my knee. Anyway, I was out of action for about 6 months. It was a grade 2 tear of the cruciate ligament.
The goats Nigel trucks aren't your common garden variety. They're wild. In every sense of the word. And the problems just continue once they're on the road.
101 things can happen every day and sort of do happen quite regularly.
Constantly moving and stacked 4 stories high, goats make a top-heavy, unstable load.
You've only got to get a few move over one side and it can put you out of whack.
Nigel's run takes him through country devastated by drought. Out here, sheep and cattle are perishing. But an introduced pest is thriving. Around 3 million feral goats are spread through the outback, over an area the size of Mexico. Nigel's employer, Rob Newton,
Or even go up through the gate here and then cut across.
removes thousands of goats from his property every year. It stops his station from being overrun.
We're going to go muster a few goats, ready to truck out.
And with a truckload worth about $50,000, it's crucial income in times of drought.
We had a family farm that when times were tough, you had nothing. It was do or die. And then there was goats.
Today, Rob's looking to fill Nigel's truck with over 900 goats.
We'll go up one side of the paddock we're mustering and we'll work them all into one direction. Once we start getting them into a bit tighter mob, we'll put it back through the gates towards home.
Game on. Mustering goats takes skill and nerve. And even then, there are no guarantees.
If you haven't got the right men, right people, you can have nothing to put on a truck.
Goats are intelligent, quick-moving, and will exploit their surroundings to avoid capture. Eventually, Rob's team gather a sizable herd. The challenge now is to get them back to base.
Just because you've got a good mob of goats going in front of you doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up with them.
If one gets away, others will want to follow.
Goats are agile and quick thinking. If there's an opportunity to get away, they'll do it.
An alpha billy goat makes a break for it. They need to catch him.
The lead's getting away.
Before he splits up the herd. An entire day's work is escaping. If they lose the herd, they'll have nothing to truck and no income for the station. Finally, the billy goat is rounded up and the herd is brought back under control.
We're going to draft them up and get them organised, leave them in the yards overnight and then get in early first thing in the morning.
5 a.m. And even before sunrise, it's 29 degrees.
Hey, come on, fellas.
Rob and his trucker Nigel need to load the wild goats before the day really heats up.
It's going to be hot today, 45 degrees they're saying, which means you can nearly double that with the heat coming off the roads.
In that sort of heat, and with a full load, Nigel's truck will be pushed to its limits.
Everything runs hotter and harder. The tyres, gearbox, everything. There's so much that can go wrong.
With this load, delays need to be avoided at all costs.
Animals do it really hard. They're no different to us. Can't have goats sitting in 45 degrees on trucks.
The lower decks are loaded. All that's left are the top decks, the hardest of all.
When you're loading them up onto that top deck, they can tend to jump over. We've had up to 15 goats go out over the top, the front pen.
All on board. Final head count, 960. But suddenly, something spooks the goats.
Hey!
Fortune favours the brave.
They just jump and hit the ground running and they're out of that truck and gone.
960 goats, minus one, are finally ready for the road.
Leave him out there in the long yard, do not rush him.
This wild load is now in Nigel's charge. With a 7-hour drive ahead, his biggest concern is the goats crushing each other.
Just keep an eye on them, stop a few times and just see. They can all push up in a corner. Oh, I think we're ready to hook it. We're right.
Sunrise, and it's not long before temperatures start to rise.
And what is it now, about 7:30 or thereabouts, 7:15, and it's 32 degrees, I reckon, on the wireless. And they've been forecasting for several days, 45.
Ahead, a 500-kilometre haul through some of the harshest country in the land.
101 things can happen every day and sort of do happen.
To make it through, Nigel will need to be on high alert.
I'm looking ahead, I'm looking in my mirrors, I'm looking to the left, I'm looking to my right. In the heat, it's just harder on gear. Everything's running hotter, your tyres are running hotter, your bearings are running hotter. Any vehicle can break down, no matter how flash it is and how much you paid for it.
But in these temperatures, he can't afford any breakdowns. Without airflow through his trailers, the goats risk quickly overheating.
You just can't leave livestock out in the hot sun for hours on end. And there's always a couple that, aren't walking off. It doesn't reflect well on me.
As the mercury creeps up, Nigel wants to check on his passengers.
And it's no good just stopping on the side of the road and just walking round when you've got to get up the side, because I can't see if an animal's sitting down that it's not getting squashed by the other stock.
It's not a simple procedure with a 4-storey load. Up the top, the goats are travelling well. But down below,
It's just, like, see here, there's,
the last thing he wanted to find.
like, see here, there's one sitting down that's getting squashed.
He needs to get it on its feet, fast. With 120 other animals lurching around in the same pen, it could easily get crushed. It's safe. Nigel can start pushing on again. He needs to deliver his goats by close of business today. That's 4 hours away, and Nigel's still got 350 k's to drive.
Every time you stop, it's just adding more time. It doesn't take much to blow your time frame out.
Miss his deadline, and Nigel risks losing future contracts. Now he's crossing into a different state.
You really notice a difference when you cross the border here.
And a very different state of road.
Pretty potholy here. You don't have much space here. It's hard to pass through trucks. At least one's got to drop some wheels down.
Bad roads. And now slow-moving traffic. A caravan sitting on 70 k's per hour. To make his delivery, Nigel can't afford to sit on this speed. His only option is to overtake.
But you've really got to watch some of these bits of road where you just drop off to a sheer drop.
Ahead, it's a wide open road. Nigel's got 100 k's to go and an hour and a half to do it in.
All going well. We might be up at Charleville at 2 o'clock.
Outside, the temperature's rising. If Nigel pushes too hard, he's asking for trouble.
Only a mug would be driving any truck sitting on 100 k's an hour on a day like this. Look after your tyres, try and look after your trailer, try and look after your motor. Coolant temperature, just keep an eye on him. Axle temperatures, gearbox temperatures. Drive to the climatic conditions.
He's done it, and 20 minutes before closing time. All of his passengers have made it through.
They travelled well. All I'll do now, I'll just back in the ramp, I'll find an empty yard. Check that it's got water in it for them, and I'll just open the right gates, get these goats out.
For Nigel, it's been a long, hard day. And despite all the challenges, nothing's managed to get his goat.
I'll just freshen up a bit, change the clothes and crank that aircon up and full steam for home.
Dougal Brett is one unusual truckie.
We've got a processor and a selector ready for the exporter.
He flies his own helicopter, owns a cattle station the size of a small country.
We might have the yard up in 2 lots. There might be too many to fit in the yard.
And a fleet of livestock trucks.
We enjoy carting cows. Like, we're called the turd herders. And some blokes don't like manure and dust and shit all over them.
Push.
Whereas we enjoy all that.
Black off. Cows and calves can shoot straight out here, off our draft.
He's depending on money from the sale to pay bills that have been piling up since the previous season, when a live export ban crippled the market.
We're in a tough industry, and you either make it or you can not make it very quickly. Tomorrow we load.
Push.
It's a long run. If anything goes wrong, you're pretty much in the middle of Australia.
So you'll be right.
In the middle of nowhere. And that's when it can get serious.
We need to get these cattle sold so we get money in the bank, and then that will allow us to keep paying accounts and paying our interest over the next 6 months. We've got to get more fuel before the wet really kicks in. So of course we need to sell cattle to be able to pay for that. So it's really crucial.
It seems the wet season has arrived early.
So the condition of the roads is muddy, not good for road trains. So we're better off leaving them in the shed.
Like if you get one of these bogged, he could sit there for the wet. And plenty of road trains have sat on dirt roads for the whole wet.
That could be months, and there's a lot at stake.
It's $1 million. By the time you put new trailers and a decent truck in front, like built for out here, and the 140-tonne rated and triple rated truck and a few amenities for drivers, like it's no change out of $1 million.
If the rain sets in, his cattle don't go to market.
I'll just give it a couple of hours and see what the weather does.
And he doesn't get paid.
Which way is it coming, Norm? That bottom cloud's coming across and that other top one's moving away the other way, isn't it?
Where it's coming?
From the north, Normie?
Yep.
We've been getting these storms in the early hours of the morning, and Dougal and I wake and say, oh, rain, we don't need it.
He's tempted to take a risk, but it could be a huge mistake.
We've got a lot of black soil, a lot of gravel roads, and the wetter and wetter it gets, like the road trains will fall through the surface of the road. So I've just got to ring an agent and just put them back a day, just due to the weather. The dramas of wet weather. If it keeps raining, we won't move in here. It is critical. We will put our balls on the line and get them out. Like, we will go, yeah, when it starts, it'll be on.
At Waterloo Station, the rain that stopped Dougal Brett from loading his cattle has cleared. The race is now on to get the cattle rounded up and into trucks before more wet season rain makes the muddy roads even wetter.
We've got a window on the weather. We've got to move now. You miss the window, it's off. It's all finished.
When you get the 5 extra, just make sure you know their sexes. Righto, mate.
Driving cattle trucks with 3 double-decker trailers carrying over 200 swaying animals is regarded as one of the toughest trucking jobs there is. And on bad roads, it's twice as tough. It's the start of a 3,000-kilometre run for Dougal. For the next 3 days, he'll barely leave the truck's cabin.
He'll work big hours. Anywhere from 16 to 18 a day. It's loaded, so it's all good.
It may have dried up, but the weather is still a concern.
So we've just got the grader here as well. In case we get stuck, it's going to pull us through a couple of bog holes.
The wet season here can last 5 or more months. And once it starts, you could be stuck. The rush is on to get the trucks off the station and to better roads.
Raining, look. There's a storm right there.
Up here, it can take you hours even to get nowhere.
A live load makes it even more difficult.
You're looking at nearly 56 tonne just in animals moving around. And And that's the thing, like they're standing on 4 legs, so they're moving you around as well. Going through creeks, you can feel them shunning, but when you move the steering wheel like that, you can feel it like a big snake, and you can feel it. That's why when it's a little bit wet, we've got to try and stay right up and not let a trailer drop off the side because it'll slip down and then it could roll over. It's pretty easy. We've got away with another load, so it's all good. So it's taken us an hour and a half to do 43k, but at least we're out, that's a good thing. I wouldn't worry if it took me 5 hours.
The convoy is still not off the dirt when the day's good run comes to an abrupt end.
Got help, makes it a bit quicker.
Changing a tyre on a road train in the blistering outback heat is never fun.
You got the other one, mate? Cheers, mate.
But changing one on a cattle truck with over 200 animals moving overhead is a whole new ball game.
I got the job in the shade. Got a common sense. You going, Bull?
Making the tyre change even trickier is the wet ground.
No, the road keeps giving away. It's wet.
It's a tough, sweaty job.
You going?
And it has to be done fast.
Come on, quick, mate, I'm sinking. You going, mate? Right. First trip, one tyre. Hope it gets better.
Finally, the convoy makes it onto the bitumen.
We've got all our cattle out that we wanted to get out. So now the man upstairs can do what he wants to do. It can rain, hail or shine, and we're pretty much safe.
But getting onto the good road brings its own hazards.
Look at this, how stupid this is.
In the middle of nowhere, 2 touring cyclists.
If we get too close, we can blow them off the bike or suck them back into your trailers. If another road train's come around this corner, we're in the shit. Oh, they annoy you, you know, like, they stay in the lane, and then if we went around the corner as a truck there, we would have an accident. I don't mind them being on the road, but it's dangerous, mate. We've got like 130 tonne pushing us down a hill. They don't understand. Like, who would be riding a push bike down here in this heat? Who would ride a push bike anyway down here? Like, we invented an engine.
After leaving his cattle station almost 2 days ago, Dougal Brett's animals have to be given their second regulatory break off the truck. It'll be a rest for the passengers, who'll stay in a holding yard near the highway.
All done. I think I can knock off now. But no, they've all travelled down safely. They're all getting a drink. Everyone walked off and everyone's right, so it's good. Put them in a nice big yard down the back, so they settle down.
The next day arrives and Dougal's in the dead heart of central Queensland. He still has another 12 hours of driving ahead of him.
It does get tough now because it's getting hot, and this is when you can have maintenance failure and driver failure.
On the open road, his fuel consumption improves, but at times he can be averaging only a litre a kilometre.
But it all depends how heavy you are. And if you're on a hill or flat, that's why you try and stop on top of hills so you can roll off and get back to your maximum speed as quick as possible. Pulling in a little parking bay, just check the cattle.
Yeah, just pull up every couple of hours and just check the animals. They've got plenty of room. So far, everything's going all right. But it can go to shit quick.
It's bloody hot. Like, it's really hot. Like down, I couldn't even undo that fuel tank thing without using a glove.
Fueling up at roadhouses is expensive, and in the middle of the outback, there are few around. Instead, Dougal carries 2 spare tanks under the front trailers. Each carry 850 litres of diesel. From there, it's pumped into the running tanks.
The high 40s, where we are on this hot red ridge, probably 46, 47.
It's the middle of the day and the temperature is soaring.
Yeah, let's see how hot.
We should go and cook this egg. No, I'll keep the gas. It's a bit slow.
Outside temperatures have been close to 50 degrees, making the setting sun a welcome sight.
It's a beautiful time at night to drive because it's cool. All your running gear, like your diffs, your gearboxes and your bearings and everything start dropping in temperature because it's cooler at night. And your animals, it's cooler.
He's driven halfway across Australia, over 2,000 kilometres. So far, it's been a regulation run. Until he spots a car stopped on the side of the highway.
Find out what's going on.
It's in the middle of nowhere. If Dougal doesn't help, it could be a long wait before the next vehicle comes along.
We've just got a couple of tourists here that pulled us up and have done a fan belt, so we just got to strap off another bloke driving back to Mount Isa. Now you got to put your hazards on. Make sure you blokes know you got hazards work. Yep. What is it, an Sigma or something?
Wrong switch. Yeah, no, bring your torch in. Pass your torch.
Where's your blinkers, mate? Where'd you buy this bit of shit from? Hey? Hey? You got ripped, eh? Yeah. There's one, yeah, so there should be another one. There you go. Righto. Your boat's right then?
Yep, so we just setting it?
Yeah, you steer it. They'll drop you off, mate, at the first servo or something in town, you know?
Okay.
Righto, you're right, mate. Good way. We've just got the first car going that way, which is a four-wheel drive, luckily, up at Gero, so they're just going to tell them to into Winton and hopefully carton a beer for them, for helping them out in the middle of nowhere. That's bush currency, carton a beer. So they're lucky because it would have been a lonely night out here on the downs. We can tow it with this, but you don't feel them on the back and you end up, don't know if they're there or not there. In the truck industry, there's a culture of if someone's down, you help them, mate and mate, sort of. But anyone out here, you help. I mean, look where they are.
Dougal Brett has driven most of the night and is now on the last leg of his 3,000 kilometre trek from the Northern Territory.
Yeah, we've just gone through Blackall, just had a sleep. We've got 70 k's to go out to the station, 60 k of dirt and 10 of bitumen. Get out there and we'll unload and the job's done.
He's been waiting for this moment all year, when he can deliver his cattle to a fattening lot and get some much-needed cash in return.
There's a lot of pride in taking cattle from here, 3,000 kilometres, and you get them to the destination and they're not bruised, they'll walk off.
But on these rough roads, there's one last hurdle.
This mongrel corner up here. About 2 kilometres left to go, and then we're at our final destination. It looked like we weren't going to pull it off a couple of weeks ago. We really had to do it, or we were in the shit. It's just a massive relief. When it kept getting wetter and wetter, we knew it wasn't the wet season, it was just storms, but it could have been. We did doubt it a couple of times, but we weren't going to let on. Hey there, Em. Good mate yourself. Yeah, no, all unloaded at Dumfries. Oh, you miss the kids. And Mum, your wife, Emily. I miss them.
The horn on the truck's going madly as he comes in and they're out the back door quicker than I can say Dada's home.
There's that paperwork there, mate. So that's all good. Thanks very much, mate. Yeah. The pressure's off. We're finished. The year's done. And what has been a very treacherous year, it's turned out now to be quite okay. Thanks, mate. Year's over. Truck's in the shed, so it's all done and dusted.
How you going there, love?
In southern Queensland, husband and wife team David and Kylie Hornick are up early.
Set our alarm for 2 o'clock. I think it's about 20 past 2 now. Getting organised and ready to load these cattle.
They've been contracted to transport 800 head of cattle. It will take every truck in their fleet.
We've come to 3 trucks now. We've got Robert and Troy on board.
Outback truckers Robert Walker and Troy Barber will also both be hauling 3 double-deck trailers, each weighing 108 tonnes and stretching 53 metres.
You driving?
No, it's too early.
Oh, all right. Okay, daylight driver.
Yeah.
Kylie recently passed her truck licence, so she can now help share the driving with her husband.
I'll have a go. I'm a bit anxious about it. I haven't driven it before.
You just go up there and pull me up if you can at the front ramp there.
No, something's locked on, I think.
David and Kylie's truck is refusing to move off the starting line.
It's like me. It doesn't want to get out and going.
Got a brake locking on here somewhere. Not even at the ramp yet to load.
Rob discovers a blockage in a line controlling the trailer's air brakes. Tapping the air tank dislodges debris, blocking the air lines and disengages the brakes so the truck can move.
There you go. You going now? Just a bit of love tap from Rob. That's all we needed. Hey, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Not too bad. Another 20.
3 a.m. The upper deck for the first truck is loaded before they raise the ramp and load the lower deck.
It seems awfully slow. Not even going up.
The ramp is powered by batteries in the truck, but it appears to have lost power.
Where's your jumper leads? Must be a broken wire somewhere, Rob.
With time slipping away, David tries powering the ramp by jumper leads connected to the battery in the farmer's 4-wheel drive.
You've got the round the right way, mate. Just sparked a bit up here. Up and in. No, you got it around the wrong way.
Well, just swap the black to red. Put the black around the other way.
You know, and it's good now, the power of the car, got the ramp back up, so it must be either a broken wire from the trickle feed from the truck to the trailer that doesn't power up our batteries. Without that ramp, you're buggered. It's a necessity. Had a bit of a bad start. Hopefully the next two are better.
3:30 a.m. Behind schedule, they finally start to load Rob's 3-trailer road train.
What time did you want to be left here by?
Yeah, I wanted to have Rob loaded by now.
Well, that's what I thought.
What have we got here now?
What's happened?
It's been one technical hitch after another, and the bad luck is not over yet.
The little handle just broke off before. Rob must have had too many wet picks.
The handle unlocks the trailer's loading ramp. The team needs a solution fast.
Bit of brute muscle and a bit of lube to lube that hinge up.
A bit of grease on the hinge gets the ramp moving again.
There's a little bit of duck shit weld on there. Christ. I wonder it broke.
It's 3:30 a.m. and they still have 2 more trucks to load.
Delays always make it hard on the cattle. That's the thing you just got to be cautious with.
The longer the cattle are in the trucks, the more stressed they become, causing them to lose weight.
Probably take another half an hour, 40 minutes to load this one if all goes well.
How's your count going?
Yeah. Good. Like a game of tennis, I'm like.
Come on, up you go.
4:30, and David's convoy is finally loaded with cattle.
Yeah, all loaded up now. We'll just do the paperwork and we'll be on our way. There's a few setbacks there, so we won't worry about having a cup of tea until down the road there somewhere. We're on our way, love.
Yeah, upper.
There's no fences on these places. Might have a few wild pigs. Always the old cow walking about.
Roos do a big damage too.
Roos. Watch out, you got a roo just in front of you here. You're right. So we definitely got to look out.
Every trip we do together, I get nervous that, you know, both parents are on the road and it's so dangerous sometimes.
Well, my old fella, he drove trucks too and he died in the truck. So,
he was 27 and you were 7.
I sort of done a tribute. I got his a photo airbrushed on the back of the bunk there. Wanted to do something, so he was always with me.
Every time something goes wrong or something, I always say, come on, John, help us out, pull us through. And I think that he always does. I just got a message from Mum, David, and she's gonna take the kids into Mitchell and watch us come in so they can wave goodbye.
Oh, that'll be good.
While David and Kylie are on the road, their 3 children are staying with their grandmother near the town of Mitchell, Queensland.
They're waving already. And Mum and Daddy. Always teary, but happy. They're so cute. Miss out on a lot, but it's for the better.
It is starting to heat up out there, so the next sort of worry are some tyres blowing, but just cross our fingers they don't blow.
With the mercury pushing 40 degrees Celsius, if the convoy stops, they risk the cattle overheating.
Keep going so you get breeze through them, sort of cool the weaners down, so that's like that big aircon. We keep going, keep trucking. Doing pretty good time. We might not even have tea at Longridge. You might even have a bit of tea in Winton maybe.
If the convoy can make the 500 kilometres to Winton with no further delays by 6 p.m, they will have clawed back the time lost for loading.
Got rubber up here, got rubber.
Blow your tyre up.
Oh, bloody hell. So we'll find the next parking bay and we'll get in and give a hand and change it out.
With 800 cattle left standing in the searing heat, time is critical.
We'll get this done as quick as we can and get back on the road. Get the breeze through the cattle.
But it's not as simple as just changing a tyre.
Here's Bogged. Here's your Bogged the guard. We're trying to straighten this guard bar for you.
A blown tyre has bent a steel bar supporting the truck's mudguard. If it's not fixed, it will damage the replacement tyre.
That'll do all right. Good as gold, mate. All changed, ready to go. Pack our gear away and get up her.
Hey, up you get.
One of their passengers is not so keen to get back on the road.
Just found one down in the back pen here. We've got to get him up, so I'll get David to get the jigger and get him up.
Don't want him to sit down just in case they get trampled on.
He just wants to lay there.
Get up, get up.
With the convoy back in action, Kylie takes over the driving.
Where's the seat thing?
Between your legs like they always are.
This is the first time she's driven a fully loaded triple road train.
And you gotta push it, yellow button in.
Oh, really? Thanks for that.
See, you don't have your clutch in enough.
Yes, I do.
Don't rev it up too much.
Yes, gearbox.
Just steady, mate.
I'm too close, mate. That's what I was saying to you.
Well, you need to be that close to put your throttle down. You don't need to rev it that hard.
No, I find the hardest part is to listen and do what I'm told by my husband. So I don't like doing that much. But he's the one with the knowledge and the experience. So I've just got to listen and do exactly what he says and I'll be fine. My palms are sweating.
Doing great. Great first time loaded. You be right for a bit, then might have a bit of a lie down.
Yep.
Right up.
I'll call you if I need.
Kylie's driving solo 314 kilometres to the next stop in Longreach, Queensland.
You've really got to be strong in your arms to hang on. That's what I find. You've just got to counteract where the road pushes you.
3 hours later, as she approaches their destination,
change down.
Driving instructor David wakes up.
Up to his bull bar. Brake. Brake.
I'm
Brake.
trying. I'm trying.
Neutral.
Anyway, I made it.
Before they move on, Kylie checks up on the passengers.
The animals are fine at this stage. They're still standing. All's good. They're travelling really well.
While David makes a quick engine inspection.
There's a little hose coming off the top of the water pump there. And looks like it's just seeping into the top of the fitting.
David's engine coolant hose is leaking, and it could bring the journey to a grinding halt.
If that hose blows and we're at the back of nowhere, well, you'll just stay there. You'll have to sleep with the cows on and unload the next morning. Not good for anyone, not an option. It's down there.
Yeah. No, it's as hard as anything, mate.
Yeah.
They've had to call in a local mechanic.
Yeah, we've got to drain your coolant out, bud.
Yeah,
We've got two choices here. We're going to get the gear and bring it up here, or you just drop it off and just come to the workshop and we'll do it there.
Oh, it's quicker.
Oh, well, I mean, going in there is obviously quicker, because everything's right there, you know.
Yep. You're just going to unhook.
The breakdown is more than just a delay. The cattle must be taken off the trailers every 48 hours for a rest break of 12 hours.
So, yeah, we'll just run down here, only take us 20 minutes or so. You're just going to quickly drop the coolant and do that hose, pump it back in, and then we'll be on our way.
Already 24 hours into their journey, the convoy can't afford to keep losing time.
It is urgency that they do not stand on the trailer for too long. We need to get them there, and they're our main priority.
Drop the coolant. We'll make a new hose and whack him on. Drained it and got the hose off, and nearly put the new one back on already. Thanks again, Pete.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Mate. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank you, mate. I know it's annoying, half hour, 40 minutes, but like Pete said, he doesn't really reckon that it would have lasted much longer.
With the truck fixed, time to get moving again.
Righto, these boys checked your cattle, so all we need to do now is hook up and we're on the road.
We're back on the road again. It's good to see. Just coming into winter. We're going to go out the other side.
They're heading for a cattle grazing area, 250 kilometres outside Winton, accessed only by rough dirt roads.
Corrugation's real good up here.
Nice. We've come into a fair bit of corrugation here. And we're now back down to 17 kilometres an hour, and you can't see 2 foot in front of you from the dust because it will just not blow away at all. I could get out and walk quicker than this.
Down to walking pace. David's increasingly worried about the cattle.
Cattle are on there longer than they should be, but not much you can do about it. Can't wait to get these poor little fellas off. Well, we're finally bloody here. Christ. What a journey that last leg was.
The convoy has reached the feedlot, where the cattle are unloaded.
So we've met our final destination and all the animals walked off. That's the main aim for us.
It's always good on that distance when they all walk off.
Because it's tough on them too. It's huge.
It's a job well done to all the boys.
Yeah.
That was a big day, love, wasn't it?
Very big, and I'm not a morning person.